could not have imagined a better introduction than the previous one, really. It's like if we had prepared the transition. There are two things that make me very emotional today. One is what happened to me when I discovered Georgia. A few years ago, I hope you forgive me, but a few years ago, Georgia was not on my map. Not my fault, my parents, you heard, children. Okay? But as Salome or Mariam said, I was born in Egypt, and in Egypt people are very warm and human, and they like to connect. And when I was expelled from Egypt, I went to France, and France, they are less warm. They don't care so much to connect.
They make good croissant though.
Yeah, it's the only compensation. Okay, so when I came to Georgia, it was amazing to feel this life again. It was like rebirth. The second thing that makes me emotional is exactly what Dr. Previous Sapolsky expressed. Life is stressful, and if we don't know how to manage it, we may get sick. So when we started Leo methodology, our purpose was not to help business or our purpose was to share that we changed our perspective about life after the disease. And the message was, don't wait until life forces you to change your life to have a better life. That was our message. So when Mariam and Salome, I think, invited us to talk, it was like going back at the origin to talk about health. Leo methodology would not have been developed if my wife Claire would not have had cancer and she was given 3 months to live. And instead of 3 months, she did 17 years. And without Leo, we would not have guessed what to do with the situation. So this is what we are going to present you quickly. Thank you. C'est toi? Oui, tu voulais nous présenter tous les deux.
I'm going to use this differently because they were made for men without hair, not for women with long hair, but beautiful. So, Anna and Sami Cohen, we are not doctors. I was quite intimidated by all those data. We are not psychologists. We are the founders of Leo.Institute here in Georgia, and what we share comes out of our own experience with Leo methodology that, as Sami shared, was developed out of Claire's sickness. And here she is.
Yeah. So in 1982, Claire was diagnosed a melanoma in the right eye. And she was given 3 months to live. But it's not that you get to that stage just because it falls on your head. Okay? The period before is important to understand. The period before was a very stressful period in which our relationship was not easy. Okay? And as you heard just before, and it will, when you will see the presentation, you will think we talked with him before. We were not aware at that time of how much stress would destroy us from the inside. Okay, so this is what we are going to talk today. And what really made the difference for us is Leo's approach to life. You see, Leo says there are two attitudes about life. Either you believe life is happening, I got sick, what can I do? It's a virus, okay? My company bankrupt, oh, my competitor, it's not my fault, it's situation, okay? Oh, we are not, now I am going to tease you a little bit. We are not in the European Union, it's a catastrophe. Sounds a bell? So we can decide that life is happening to us, but Leo's philosophy is, let's make life happen. Okay? J'introduis les chemicals maintenant, plus tard. Okay. Ah, can you put, okay, tu le surveilles. Okay. J'introduis les, so there are two concepts I would like to talk today. So the first one is, nothing is stable in life. You think you are in good health, maybe tomorrow you are sick. Tomorrow you are sick, maybe after tomorrow you are in good health. Nothing is stable. You take businesses, it's the same. You are doing a good year, you want it to stay the same, it cannot. Either it goes better or it goes worse, but it cannot. So this concept that nothing is stable has been key in what helped Claire live longer. Okay. So the second concept I want to talk, it's the chemicals. I'm not going to speak about dopamine, adrenaline, no. We are not scientists, okay? But any one of us, we feel that there are good chemicals when we are happy and loving, and there are toxic chemicals when we are in a bad situation. Okay? That's why I said what the guy was saying before. Thank you. He gave you all the data, all the scientific data. Okay? So, before Claire gets sick, she and I, we had many moments in which we were producing toxic chemicals in our body. She got sick before me, but I could have gotten sick before her. Okay? And Leo helped us to look at the situation from a different point of view. Because all doctors said 3 months, there is nothing we can do for you. So it's not that you had a choice to do a treatment or, okay? And Leo started what I said before. Did you let it happen or do you made it happen? So, what produces the chemicals? This is where we continue the previous conversation. Because the previous conversation put in evidence that it's the change of chemicals that create the disease, right? We agree on that? It's a question. Yes. So, but what is producing these chemicals? So we tend to think, oh, we have a stressful life, my boss is not nice, my spouse is not nice. Okay? But what produces these chemicals? So, what Leo helped us with, that it's not the outside events that produces the chemicals, it's our thoughts about the outside events. Are you all convinced? No. Some of you maybe not. Who is not convinced? I don't believe you.
Who is shy and is not saying?
Okay, let me give you an example. You make a mistake. Okay? How do you feel when you make a mistake? Like this, right? Okay. Let's say you are doing something, but with a mindset to learn. And you make a mistake. Okay? You are learning something you should not do. You see, Edison said, I discovered 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb. He did not depress 1,000 times. He would have died. But each time he knew that this is not a way to do a light bulb. Okay? So, believing that it is the outside that causes the stress, there is something missing. So this is where we are going to go. C'est toi?
So this concept we are going through is strictly connected to what we consider a danger for ourselves. So Sapolsky was speaking about psychological stress. This is exactly what creates most of it. Because when a physical danger is coming, we just have all those chemicals changing so that we can either fight or flight. The bus is coming towards you, you just run. And then you feel this adrenaline going down. But do they really come from outside? So if it's my thoughts about what is happening, creating the chemicals, then they're coming from inside. But from what place? Now, to understand this, we need to understand how human beings function since they are born. We are not fishes. Fishes are born and they can swim in the ocean. They are self-sufficient. They don't need someone taking care of them. Human beings need someone to feed them, to give them shelter, to protect them, to love them. If no one takes care of a newborn baby, the baby dies. Within a day, if it's cold weather, few hours. But many experiments have been done, when they could still do them, where even the lack of love, although you have food and shelter, provokes death. early death. So our need to be loved is essential to life. And when we miss it, we feel in danger. It's not conscious, but that's what is happening inside. Now, as we grow, this need to be loved is translating into new shapes. For example, the need to be appreciated. You can read them. The need to be respected. Let me make a survey. So, who has a need to be appreciated? Raise your hands. Yeah. Who has a need to be respected? Maybe you have all of them, maybe not. Admired. Acknowledged. When you do something at work and someone else gets the credit, how difficult is it? Considered. You want to share something, you have an idea, and you're not being listened. It's not being considered. Understood. How many times do we speak and we have the impression we're not understood? Listened to, which is before being understood. Accepted, chosen, trusted, liked. There are many others. So this need to be loved is then translated into these more subtler forms. When this is not happening, we don't feel good. And that starts creating those chemicals. So in order to get that, we put ourselves under stress because we need to perform, we need to be, we need to comply. So we put ourselves at the mercy of what is outside in order to get it. Because in ourselves, we know we need to be loved in order to survive as that little baby. Then we grow up, we can provide for ourselves, but that memory is still there, pushing all day long.
So the suggestion is to raise our consciousness about the emotions and feelings we have in the body. Because if we remain 5 years, 10 years with these toxic chemicals, what is going to happen? Yeah, you see, when Claire got sick, it was, she had, of course, very depressed with the diagnosis, but there was also a kind of relief. It's strange, isn't it? But the relief of not having to fight, to prove, and to... we use the expression in French, it's déposer les armes dans l'honneur. You know, when you lose the battle and you lay down the arms, but in dignity. Okay? Women are often more touched by relationships, and men are more often touched by the material side. A man who is having his business going very bad may develop a serious disease because it gives him the relief that if he would not have been sick, maybe he could have turned around the situation. So our suggestion is to monitor what you feel inside. Otherwise, life to you. You don't make it happen. At each moment, we have a choice on how we perceive the outside world.
So actually, the proposition is to monitor your thoughts, because that's where everything starts.
C'est toi après? Ah, yeah. Because if you change your thoughts, you change the chemicals. Okay? So it's really important. You see, when Claire got sick, she was told, you know, bad thoughts are bad for health. So what happened? She had, because when you're told you're going to die in 3 months, of course you had bad thoughts. Tell me how you don't. But on top, she felt also guilty for having these thoughts. Okay? Really, mastering our thoughts, it's really an education. But we don't see another path to good health. So you understand that with this point of view, we believe that it is possible to challenge any difficult situation. Okay? Your relationship does not go well, you can challenge it. You lost your job, maybe you will find a better one. Challenge your thoughts. Okay. So, Leo's motto, you see, after a year or two that Claire was still alive, we started appreciating impossible challenges outside of health. Yeah. And Leo's motto is, it's impossible, take it. Take it as a challenge. It will help you grow. So it's really what Leo suggests.
Now, what makes us think something is impossible? Do you think this horse will run away? So it's tied to this chair. We weighed a chair to see how much is it. It's about 2 kilos. So, same. Do you think this elephant can run away? I mean, do you think the elephant will run away? No. Why? They both think it's impossible. How? When the elephant is a baby elephant.
Done.
Oh la la. It is attached to a very resistant tree with a rope. And the elephant tries to go away, but cannot. So it tries, and at some point he understands, when I'm tied, I cannot go. It's impossible. So when it's a big elephant, a small rope like that can keep the elephant where the elephant is. So since childhood, this belief, I cannot run away if I'm tied, whatever is the rope, whatever is the stick, is ingrained. And the elephant will not challenge it. We do the same with our beliefs. If we think it's not possible, we make it not possible. Henry Ford used to say, both when you think you can and you cannot, in both cases, you will be right, because that's what you will create. So, is it always like that? Well, Claire's story says no, it's not. So we have another example. So I'm going first to explain it, and then we will go. It's very short. So it's an experiment where they put fleas dog fleas, in a jar. They leave the fleas there. Fleas jump. That's their job, they jump. So they put the lid, and they leave the fleas in the jar with the lid for 3 days. So they cannot jump beyond the lid, right? After 3 days, they take away the lid, and the fleas do not jump beyond the lid that is not there anymore. Let's see it. You see they jump beyond?
They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behaviour is now set for the rest of their lives. And, when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
Which means our kids inherit our thoughts and our beliefs. They don't even need to have the experience to have the belief. Because that's the way we transmit safety for our physical survival. So what happens actually is that the experiment continues. We don't have the continuation, but we know it continues. What they do is that they add one flea that was not conditioned. The flea doesn't know it cannot jump beyond the lid. So the flea jumps. What happens? The others learn again to jump beyond the lid. So what was impossible becomes possible. So invitation is become the flea that doesn't know it is not possible and make it possible.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I don't think we have time for
I wrote 2 books. One is Life Beyond Fear, but the name of the book was Our Next Step in Evolution, which means, what I meant by that was, let's learn to manage our fears. I believe that the next step in evolution is to not let ourselves stopped and managed by our fears. But our marketing manager said, title is not good, so we called it Life Beyond Fear. The second one is presently in English. You can find it at Palitra, but in November it will be available in Georgian. So we thought it would be a good Christmas present for your friends. Thank you.